Okay, so I call to order the Diamond Head Water and Sewer District meeting of August the 10th, 2023. Let's see if all that are able can join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Can and will. Thank you, Commissioner. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll all occasionally recite those lines in our head and really think about what they mean. It'd be really good.
Not bad for the terminology.
Yep. All right, roll call, please, Madam.
Chairman Brian Griffith,
Here.
Vice Chairman Ben Taylor,
Here.
Treasurer Louis Hertel,
Here.
Commissioner Mark Bisecker,
Here.
and Commissioner Arlen Griffey.
Here.
Thank you.
Let the record show all are in attendance. Short of the noticed action well before this evening that we had an agenda change, there had been no prior request for additional changes, so I'd ask for approval of the agenda.
So moved with amendment.
Commissioner Griffey moves to approve. Can I get a second?
Second.
Commissioner Hertel moves to second. None requesting additional conversation or discussion. So all in favor of this action, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Did you get that, Commissioner Taylor? Or did I not hear?
Yes, aye.
I'm sorry, thank you. Motion carries unanimously, and this is the agenda we'll operate under this evening. I'm going to go out on a limb and, seeing nobody in the audience, assume we have no public comment this afternoon.
No, sir.
There's no public, so.
There's no public to comment. All right. Item 4.1, specifically motion to approve the minutes of our last meeting on July 27th, 2023. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Commissioner Hertel motions to approve. Can I get a second? Commissioner Bisecker seconds. All in favor of approval of this action, please signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. General Manager's report.
Thanks, sir. We'll start out with the elevated tank project. The contractors have been working on the punch list items. However, no one's been on site this past week. The Water System Improvement Project Phase 2, CB developers have installed approximately 1,200 square feet of asphalt patches and have started painting the new fire hydrants. There's lots of dress up to do. The contractors will be painting various hydrants and laying sod. They are also dressing up the staging area laydown yard next to our admin office. Water System Improvement Project Phase 3, the project is currently at approximately 90% complete. All horizontal directional drilling and open cut installations are complete. The new 8-inch water mains are 100% tested and active. 6-inch mains are 85% tested and active. Service connections are 70% complete, and fire hydrant installations are 98% complete. The contractor has completed all of the 6-inch hot taps for the side street connections as of August the 9th. In the coming weeks, the crews will be installing service connections and continuing to test and flush the mains throughout the project. The Sewer System Improvements Project Basins 13, 16, and 17. DNA Underground has completed all of the underground work except for about 1,500 feet of forced main along Diamond Head Drive East. Suncoast Infrastructure has started sewer pipe lining as of August 1st and completed 4,600 linear feet to date. BLD is the sewer lateral lining contractor who will line the sewer service piping from the tap or connection of the sewer main to the property line and is expected to mobilize in early September. This project is approximately 60% complete. We had no abandonment of easement request this meeting. The drainage ditch at the Colo Court site is still holding steady, and as far as I know, the city engineers, Ben Benvenuti and city manager are working on obtaining easements for that project. The Makiki drainage project of the city engineer Ben Benvenuti and John McCraw, city manager, are working on drawings for that project. And I would like to add, I've spoken to several residents along the Diamond Head East and Hanalei Circle areas who are quite, fed up with the construction and the woes there be it. But we are working through the phases of the project, and we will get there. We will get the sod done. Right now, we're having problems with sod availability due to the weather. I've heard some farmers are cutting sod, but we're not privy to who they are yet, and the contractor and us met yesterday to discuss all this, so they're gonna be working diligently to get the sod in some of these areas and finish the paving. But I want everybody to be aware, they are working on other phases of that project. We've not abandoned that area, we'll come back to it in the next phase and the next phase, and we'll finally dress it all up and make it pretty. Just wanted to get that out there. Any questions?
Any questions for the general manager? To my left.
No,
Commissioner Griffin.
I'm good, thank you.
By second.
No question.
Commissioner Taylor.
None.
So I have and you really, I didn't know you were gonna go into that depth on the sod business. And just so, you know, this is one of those experiences where the major project is outside of my front door and window. I see it all day long. And I used to live on Huntley Circle, 2 houses in. So these are my neighbors and my hood, if you will. But that's just an aside. So
Are these your homies?
these are my homies. But the point being, it's actually, you know, revealing to be that close to such a major aspect of what we're gonna see repeated in the years to come as we do major basin rehab. Having said that, I was curious, and I was gonna really bore into the question on sod. I would call the sod off, 100% right now.
Me too.
It would be impossible to reach the subsoil with water. They will fly by with those water trucks, and it will be meaningless in terms of survivability of that sod, and it'll just turn into a tragedy. So I would, until we get something that represents some normality in rainfall, I will personally make that walk and beat on Huntley Circle, but do not do it. It's just a recipe for disaster. And we just don't need to subject, frankly, we don't need on our pressure to subject the contractor to that. They can't do anything about the fact that today's forecast for 10 days out is 0 rain and 100 degrees. There is no way. I'm hammering the sod that I got. Yes, there are some cutting. I'm hammering the sod that I got as recently as 5 days ago with 2,000 gallons a day. You cannot do that in that scope of where they are. So, and I'm barely keeping it alive.
Yeah, I'm having no luck. I put down sod,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna have to buy more sod when
Yeah.
September, October sometime.
So I just think we ought to exercise some common sense.
To that point,
Mhm.
we actually did that in the meeting. To get into more detail, we have 2.5 acres of sod yet to lay down
Mhm.
to cover all the area that we wish to cover in this project, these two projects. The two projects converge in that area, as you know. But we also addressed just in that meeting, just the critical section where we're getting the washout occurring when it does rain, if it ever rains again. So the only sod they would lay, if they can, would be those few areas right now where we're having a lot of washout. But we said the same thing in the meeting. Just hold it off until we get some wet fields.
So the second thing about this, I don't know if we just spec sod or we spec certified sod.
Certified
Okay.
in all yard areas, uncertified and
Okay.
medians and
Let's just make sure they abide that.
We are.
Because that farm sod is not certified.
right. We wouldn't put that back in someone's yard.
Right, okay. So, cool.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That leads me to another question.
Uh-huh.
In some of the projects, I think we have already laid sod.
Yes.
Is it making it?
Yes.
In areas, it is because now I can't speak to all the areas, but some of these neighbors, you know, this is just such a fascinating project to see behavior that is not informed, okay? Everybody is of the belief that their yard goes to the street, and it does not, okay? But until you do some insult to it, like what we've had to do, you are in firm belief that that is yours. And the point being that, and I know David or Joe or others, and certainly DNA, were almost accosted by some that say, "You are going to water this. I'm not putting a single sprinkler out."
Yes, sir.
Well, that's obviously proven in some cases to be pretty much a hold, and I can see those grasses. And then the others have said, "Well, this is ridiculous. I'm putting my sprinkler out because not only is that 10 feet dying, but the other 40 to my house is too," right? So it's on balance from what I see. It's holding. God help you, some of those were, I guess, the equivalent of hydro-seeded on the side. Well, that's ridiculous. That's peach fuzz that died on day one at 100 degrees.
Yeah.
So that's got to be redone. But, I mean, this is unbelievable how dry it is. I don't know if anybody has any friends or neighbors just north of here. They're drowning, right? Yeah, they are suffering from an overabundance of rain, but we're getting none. None.
I will say some residents are watering their sod and
That's what I'm
they care
saying.
about it.
Yep.
But a large number not gonna water it.
Yeah, so so it goes back to that revelation. Well, if this isn't my yard, you water it. You make it right, kind of thing.
And our contractors have been diligent in watering that. If you look at the two phases on Hilo Street, Hilo Way East, Hilo West, that sod is beautiful. There's one small section recently that we feel got sprayed or something. It's a little brown. It looks like it's coming back, so we're keeping the water on it.
Well, Hilo, just have the physics of this guy. Hilo is advantaged from the diffused shadowing of the trees. Homily Circle has none, right? So, and there is no median ground. So they are apples and watermelons in terms of that characterization. But again, thank you. Because we could drive anybody to do anything, but it would be foolhardy. It would just be going back to do it again. And then we still have to come back to the maintenance until we know the root systems. Everybody knows what that drill is. Until you cannot pull the sod up, the roots have not taken the dive. So once that happens, Mother Nature.
Precisely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, well, good deal. All right, y'all want to pay some bills? Let's pay some bills. Construction and engineering projects. 6.1, sewer improvements, phase 1 and 2, basins 13, 16, and 17. 6.1A specifically, I'm seeking a motion to approve Seymour Engineering invoice 8820 in the amount of $44,050 for the time period of June 25th, 2023 through July 22nd, 2023, leaving a remaining balance of $172,300 on this contract. Can I get a motion to approve? Commissioner Bisecker motions to approve. Can I get a second?
Second.
Commissioner Ertel seconds the motion. All in favor of approval of this action, please signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. I heard it. It's just a little pitched in there. Motion carries unanimously. 6.2, water system rehab phase 1 project, new water tower. 6.2A specifically, seeking a motion to spread upon the minutes the executed CB&I storage tank solution certificate of substantial completion approved by the board on July 13th, 2023. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Commissioner Ertel motions to approve. Can I get a second? Second. Commissioner Bisecker seconds. All in favor of approval of this action, please signify by saying aye.
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 Motion is approved unanimously. 6.2B, motion to approve, motion to approve CB&I Storage Tank Solutions Pay App number 15 in the amount of $48,927.45 for the time period of May 27th, 2023 through July 21st, 2023, leaving a remaining balance of $98,564.45 on this contract. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Commissioner Griffey motions to approve. Can I get a second?
Second.
I have a Commissioner Ertel seconds. All in favor of approval of this action signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you. Motion is approved unanimously. 6.3, Water System Rehab Phase 2 Project. 6.3A specifically seeking motion to approve CB Developers Pay App number 12 in the amount of $114,163.65 for the time period of June 1st, 2023 through June 30, 2023. The remaining balance of $455,475.01 on this contract. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Commissioner Ertel motions to approve. Can I get a second? Seconded by Commissioner Bisecker. All in favor of approval of this action, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Motion is approved unanimously. 6.4, Water System Rehab Phase 3 Project. 6.4A, specifically, I'm seeking a motion to approve DNA Pay App number 14 in the amount of $110,109.35 for the time period of July 1st, 2023 through July 31st, 2023, leaving a remaining balance of $460,112.02 on this contract. Can I get a motion to approve? I have a motion by Commissioner Bisecker to approve. Can I get a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Ertel. All in favor of approval of this action, please signify by saying aye.
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 Motion is approved unanimously. Thank you. 6.5, MDOT Roundabout Utility Relocation Project. 6.5A specifically, seeking a motion to authorize digital engineering to advertise for bids for the MDOT Roundabout Utility Relocation Project with a bid deadline of September 28th, 2023 at 2 p.m. as attached here too. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion approved by Commissioner Griffey. Can I get a second?
Second.
Commissioner Ertel seconds the motion. All in favor of approval of this action, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Motion is approved unanimously. 6.6, there is nothing this evening. On the financials, docket of claims and financial reports. 7.1A specifically, seeking a motion to approve payment of docket of claims in the total amount of $211,861.99 as attached here too. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Commissioner Ertel motions to approve. Can I get a second?
Second.
Commissioner Bisecker seconds the motion. All in favor of approval of this action, please signify by saying aye.
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 Motion is approved unanimously. Thank you. 7.1B, motion to acknowledge payment of the unapproved docket of claims that we just went through as detailed in Section 6 in the total amount of $317,250.45 as attached here too. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Commissioner Bisecker motions to approve. Can I get a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Griffey. All in favor of approval of this action, please signify by saying aye.
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 Motion is approved unanimously. Thank you. 7.1.c, motion to approve the payment of the customer deposit refund register in the total amount of $225 is attached here too. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Commissioner Ertel motion to approve. Can I get a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Bisecker. All in favor of approval of this action, please signify by saying aye.
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 Motion also is approved unanimously. Thank you. 7.1D, Treasurer's Report.
Thank you. Our available bank balance as of July 31st, 2023 was $10,684,796.94. Of this available cash, $8,162,525 is budgeted in the 5-year CIP plan. $1,861,274 is for operating and maintenance, and the remaining $660,998 is emergency reserve. Our bond principal debt balance is $19,531,000. Our bad debt transfers for the month are a negative $154.72, as we have received more payments than transfers to bad debt this month. And our year-to-date bad debt transfers are $721.89. Our total revenues are at 85%, which is above budget for the year due to the higher non-operating revenues than expected. However, operating revenues are at 78%, which is below the projected budget. The July bill cycle indicates a 0 change in operating revenue from last month and a 10% increase in operating revenue from the same time last year. Our total expenses are at 71%, which is below budget for the year. And our operating ratio goal is 1.10, and we're at 1.73. Our debt ratio goal is 1.25, and we're at 3.87. Our CIP project spending is currently at 56%, which is below budget for the year. However, 98% of the budgeted CIP is currently under design or construction. And as mentioned in our last meeting, Dr. Alan Bearfield with Mississippi State University is currently working on the 2023-2024 rate study and will be here at the district meeting room on August 17th at 11 o'clock to present his findings to the board. After the committee met, it was determined there are two options that will be the focus of his presentation to the board, and he will provide more details with whenever he arrives on the 17th. Thank you.
Any questions for the comptroller?
No, thank you.
Any questions? Commissioner Griffey?
No questions. No.
Any questions, Commissioner Taylor?
No, sir.
So I have one, it's a clarification. We have a bad debt collections credit balance?
There's a bad debt credit as of July 31st because during the month of July, we received more in payments or previous transfers from bad debt, more than we received new bad debt transfers,
Woo-hoo.
Yeah, that's
which creates a credit for the month.
right, okay.
So
But still,
$721 for the year to date.
that's remarkable. 4,500, 4,700 units, and that's remarkable. Right. Thank you. How about 7.1F? Presentation of the draft budget. Gonna come up for that? Okay.
Which one are we looking at?
This is the draft budget presentation that was,
Is it this one with confidential all over it?
no, that's
Yes.
separate, that's embodied in it.
Yes. That
Oh,
is,
yeah, the one that you had is the one.
yes, that is
Yeah.
it.
Yep,
There should be a total of 9 pages in your,
right.
There are.
in
Yeah,
the
I'm
actual
sorry, I was
budget. And then you'll have
thinking so.
additional documents
Yes,
that
we do.
that I sent you with the 2 options that Dr. Bearfield is going to present before you at minimum on
Mhm.
the 17th, as well as a draft rate and fee
Right,
Yep.
schedule. So I'll go over those.
okay,
Like I said, there are 9 pages. If you look on the far right column, there will be letters in parentheses, and on page 1 and 2 is the summary or consolidation budget, and then 3 and 4 will be your breakdown between water and sewer. Page 5, 6, and 7 will actually refer to the details of the notes of those letters that you see in that far right margin.
okay.
I just want to say I've read a lot of budgets in my time, and I love the way you laid this out. I could read it
Thank you.
easily. So thank you.
Then it serves its purpose. That's exactly what we try to do. So I'll
Well, when
start
we-
off.
When we can't read it, we suspect there's something hidden, and then you get nervous. Right?
Right.
Exactly.
But this is pretty clear.
I like the, for me, the simpler the better for me. Because then I can understand it as well. I'll start with the revenues. A is referring to the operating or consumption usage revenues, which we are expecting approximately 7%. And what I'm doing here for the purpose of this draft budget is I have chosen to use option 1. So if you look at option 1, basically in summary, option 1 would take the minimum bill for a customer, a residential customer, would go from 57 to 60, leaving the minimum gallons of 2,000 that would remain, and then the flow rate would actually change per 1,000 gallon from $8.19 to $8.94, or 75 cents per 1,000 gallon. That would be on the residential side. The commercial side, the minimum would change from $71.85 to $74.85. Again, a $3 minimum increase, using the same 1,000-gallon minimum for commercial. And the flow rate would change from $22.05 to $22.80. Again, 75 cents. And anything exceeding the 5,000-gallon flow rate would change from $7.65 to $8.94 per 1,000 gallon. That would be for commercial. So for the purpose of the budget, I did use option 1. And my thought process behind that was there will be two options or more if the board wants to go that route, but option one is the least affected to the ratepayer as far as the number of customers that we have, because the majority of our customers have a consumption range of 4,000 to 6,000 gallons. That's the largest percentage of our customers. So the most customers who would be affected would be on option two. So for the budget purpose, I am using option one.
So, Chairman, when do we vote on the options? Is that way off?
Next Thursday, the 17th, will
Perfect.
be, 11 o'clock will be the workshop that Dr. Bearfield will show where all of this came from. Then on the 24th is when it would be presented to the board for everything to be voted on,
24th is the answer, correct?
the next,
Yes.
the next board meeting.
Yep.
24th is the budget approval, right?
Right, so there's two
And the
just,
rates.
So my recommendation would be to notice, don't notice this meeting on the 17th as a workshop, notice it as a special meeting to do the rate study, presentation. And I
Okay.
feel like y'all are gonna come to a consensus there, which you may not want to, which you could defer. But if you notice it as a special meeting, then you could pick which option, you could vote to approve which option you want to do there, and they can go ahead and incorporate it into, they will have that action.
Have it prepared
I
for the
move we do
24th.
that.
Okay.
So you've already got to decide which option you're taking, so she can have that final budget ready, because you got to publish it and then have public hearings based on that, so.
correct, but for everybody's benefit, what we have here is the distillation of two things.
So a
We have an
special-
we have an advanced review of
Mhm.
enough depth of option one to glean how the comptroller came up with that. Again, going back on that last comment, least impactful to the ratepayer, all right? The details, possibly too many in workshop, but the details available from Dr. Barfield next Thursday can be interrogated to death in that setting. But at the end of that special session, we have opted for an option to be run to ground, which would, we've opted for what option or option hybrid out of that discussion we've come to. That's to be run to ground for 24th approval, so that it comes in time, correct?
No, the 24th, you're adopting your final budget.
We're saying the same thing.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I
So
misunderstood.
by the 24th, with advanced materials, we're coming to the meeting and we're adopting the budget.
That's correct.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
So that'll be our next board meeting.
Correct.
Done. Good,
Yep.
thank you.
Yep.
So we'll advertise as a special meeting on the 17th.
But all this is preparatory for us. A lot offered in that, so, perfect.
I was, Tony, outstanding at what she does. I just, and
Thank
y'all
you.
already know that, and so is David and everybody else. This is the year, if I remember correctly, that you have no room for error. I think there's not gonna be any skin in the left, like a couple of, it's like $20,000 or $30,000. That
Yeah.
so this is the tough one, so that's why I'm saying that rate study, you know, this least impactful is the one that gives you no room.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
If you go that route,
Thank you.
sorry.
Thank you, Madam Attorney.
Thank you for that ray of sunshine.
Exactly.
Good job.
Yeah. Don't get an evening job on crisis hotline. Just do it.
Just kill you, it'll be all right, just go on.
That's right. Okay.
I love it.
I'm sorry, we interrupted your flow there a little bit.
It's fine. Okay, B would actually be the service fees, which I estimate to be close to the same. C would be the other revenue, which includes new connections and interest income. Everyone has seen the recent rise in the federal interest rates this year and was higher than we budgeted, as you can see with the projected ending of other revenues as of September 30th of this year. However, as we spend down the balance of that CIP, which we are scheduled to do this next fiscal year, so I'm estimating an actual decrease in that line item. So our net result in an estimated overall revenue is an increase of approximately 5%, or $293,000. Our expense line items are, I'm budgeting with an estimated increase using an inflation rate of 5.36, which is the average federal labor statistics inflation rate from our fiscal year, October through July. So it's a 10-month average is where I came up with the 5.36%. However, some line items are estimated to increase more than that. As we know, last year was an unprecedented 9% inflation rate during '22, and the district can no longer continue to absorb this. And as Tricia pointed out, we're getting real lean here. So I'm presenting a budget that's reflective of the cost increases that we've seen. And of course, this budget is a result of not just my input, obviously, multiple department head meetings, management meetings, committee meetings. So this is where we are at this point. But again, this is strictly the draft. So with the expenses, I'm assuming everyone prefers for me not to go in too much detail line item per line item because that's a lot of information. But I will say our expenses actually continue to trend upwards with an estimated 9% increase from last fiscal year, or the current that we're in, or about $289,000. But our results of the revenues less our expenses still gives us a net inflow of $2.1, almost $2.2 million from the operating side, which if you turn to page 2, that inflow comes in that we can actually use for our debt service payments for the year and also capital improvements or capital outlay, which is letters J through M, which we'll go into more detail in a moment. Page 2, surplus shows about a $5,000 increase from current year or last year, with a total net income surplus of $458,774, which shows us that the revenues are funding, God bless you, are funding our operation, but also allows a small buffer for the uncertainty of these escalating costs that we're seeing. Also, page 2 shows this budget keeps our operating ratio goals and our debt ratio goals in line. Are there any questions on the operating side? Okay. And again, page 3 and 4 is the breakdown between water and sewer, which gives us,
Water on 3 and sewer on 4.
yes. And of course, 5, 6, and 7 are your notations. But if you go to page 7, gives us the fiscal 23-24 estimated CIP, what we have planned for this coming year. If you notice J, section J, on the far left margin, there's small numbers. Those small numbers correspond with page 9 to detail what that project specifically is. Just
Okay.
gives you a little more information. We will have a couple of projects that'll be rolling over into fiscal year 23-24. Some new will be able to begin in the design phase. However, we have determined that without additional funding, full construction may not be possible on these larger projects, these next phases. K,
I have a question. It's a minor nit. Go down to K, equipment purchases, truck replacement. Number 14, 2004 F-350, number 23, 2007 F-150. I know the general cost of a F-350 and F-150, and I was surprised that the budget's only $80,000 to replace both trucks.
that's taken in consideration trade-ins too.
Didn't think of that.
And it may
And-
not be, just
Yeah.
depending on what the new federal
And these are
or
not
state
luxury
contract, I'm sorry.
options.
Yeah, they're not what you would buy,
No.
right?
No, they're state
No,
contracted.
They're stripped down version.
No, that
And-
answer, I just thought it was
Moses
low.
electric truck.
I just thought that estimate was low and it
And
bothered
to
me.
give you some more insight
Yeah,
on
please.
the state bid contract was very meek this past fiscal year. So if it's that way again, it may not be that many, it may be one.
There's still a very large demand for, backlog of state contract purchases.
Okay. I was just, it would just seemed like a low number.
But you would think they would have caught up on that.
Fair, yeah. Okay, thank you.
The K also includes equipment purchases, updating the Vector truck, the large equipments that we have as well. L would actually be, our CCT camera improvements to its large piece of camera equipment and its software. M is, if most of you probably are aware, we transfer on a monthly basis a reserve fund from operating into this reserve account for future equipment and large cost needs. That includes things like the 10-year inspection and painting of the tower.
Right.
We've added this year the second tower, so we can start putting funds aside for that 10-year requirement from the Department of Health as well. So I added that, 50,000 for it and another 10 to the wastewater treatment plant equipment. So rather than 216, as it has been the past few years, I increased that to 276, which will transfer 23,000 every month into this reserve account, so we can have that aside whenever we do purchase these pieces of equipment. That includes the trucks that you were asking about. So page 8 will actually be the 5-year CIP plan, where we bring in the cash balance, again, that's as of July 31st, of the CIP bank account and the reserve bank account. So we have a little over $9 million to use for capital improvements. Then you add the net inflows from the operations, which you saw on page 2, less the estimated remaining project spending for the existing projects that we still have to pay out. That brings you forward with funds that you can use for the next capital improvement project. So we are estimating to use or spend about $4.7 million in fiscal year 23-24, or $5 million in the first year, but not very much in the next 4 years after, due to our funding limitations. We already know that all of the existing bond funds have already been spent, and the CIP funds will be spent by the end of fiscal year 23-24, which is why it remains important to continue the pursuance of additional funding for our next water and sewer phases. For this 5-year CIP plan, it does not include large construction phases until we have more definitive funding. So I'm estimating over this 5-year period, we have projected to spend about $7.3 million. In budget summary, our net operating surplus is $458,000. Our ratios exceed our goals, and $7 million is projected to be spent in the 5-year CIP plan. This shows us that the recommended rates of option 1, along with the remaining CIP funds, will allow the district to operate and complete the first part of our aggressive CIP plan in the short term. However, the district does need additional funding to reach a long-term plan needed to continue to improve the aging infrastructure. In addition, I performed an analysis of our service fees as well. As we have discussed in years past, we would perform this rate analysis of our fees during the budget review as well. So I have done that. Our new residential connection fees for water and sewer are all in line with the average cost to the district, except for the 1-inch size connection. Due to the increased cost of the 1-inch meter by approximately $150, that I would recommend that we increase the cost of the 1-inch new service connection, which would go from $2,000 to $2,150. for the meter. All other sizes remain in line with the district costs, so I would recommend those to remain the same. The service fees charged for various district services, which have also been analyzed, and all remain in line as they are, as we recently amended that 2 months ago, I think. As mentioned, this draft 2023-24 budget reflects the rate study revenues laid out in option 1 as one option. Again, on August 17th, Dr. Alan Bearfield will be at the district meeting room for a special meeting at 11 o'clock, and we'll be able to go into more rate details and options and anything the board would like to discuss further in more details as far as the rate's concerned and what it does. Anyone who hasn't seen his presentation and his tool of 10 million plus Excel cells, it is
Seriously.
mind-blowing. It really is. Even for someone who may not be a numbers person like me, it is surprising. It's impressive. It is very impressive. I will take any questions I can answer.
I have one, so I have actually a few,
Okay.
and a couple comments. I presume you have some ideas of at least another option that Dr. Burfield is.
Yes, he has the second option.
You may as well
Yes.
break the egg on that a little bit more than
And I
that's
meant
just a way.
to. I'm sorry, I went straight into it, and I meant to go over that, because as I was going over option 1, I went straight into the budget. Option 2 would, again, change, this is residential, would change the minimum rate to 57 to 60, an increase of $3. The difference, and again, the 75 cents on the flow rate per 1,000 gallon, that would be the same as option 1. The difference would be the minimum gallon would change from 2,000 gallons to 1,500 gallons. And he indicated, and he can explain a little bit more about that, but he indicated to us during one of our discussions that it appears that most people and companies in this industry are going the route of per gallon rates as opposed to these minimums. And the option 2 and additional options may look towards lowering that rate per 1,000 gallons and looking at those options as a future option. But David will tell you, we looked at that option as a option 1, and some bills were it was a big shock, and I don't know if we wanted to go that route or not right away. A slow transition would be an option 1 or option 2. For commercial, again, the $3 increase on the minimum from $71.85 to $74.85 with the same flow rate, 75 cents. But anything over 5,000 gallons, it would be go from $7.65 per 1,000 to $8.19 per 1,000. So those would be the difference in the change. But it basically, what it amounts to, if you notice where option 1 and option 2 on page 1 of where he is showing the 5-year and the total at the bottom, option 1 results after the 5 years of $619,000 in net income, whereas option 2 is just shy of $1 million. So it's $380,000 difference, but it just depends, and he'll go over in those details, and you can actually see what it does to customer bills whenever he makes those changes within his formulas. And it was a drastic change to the largest percentage of our users. So it just kind of, to really see it, it's hard to explain without actually seeing it.
Question.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, sir.
No, please go ahead.
Question, does option 1 make us healthy for 3 to 5 years? And I'm asking yes or no, not,
Yes,
okay. And
barely.
the
but
opinion
we're
of the
there.
operators here, I mean, is that the way to go, or should it be more like option 2 or some derivative of that? I'm just asking, we're not voting, I'm just,
Yeah, we'll talk more into that meeting on the 17th.
all right, fair.
a lot of more
Which-
details in the
Which is
weeds.
why I kind of chose option one in the budget draft.
So,
Just because it was the least,
Well, just in the interest of, I really don't want to spend any discussion on an option that's not viable, that doesn't make us healthy. And I talked to
oh yeah,
Brian about that offline as well, so.
oh yeah, he would not even present something that wasn't doable.
well,
Yeah.
viability spans a wide spectrum. It's not necessarily just numbers, it's
Well, when we
it's the
started,
consumption of those numbers. So let me ask you, remind me again what the per 1,000 gallon rate above base is.
it is currently
Mm-hmm.
273 for water and 546 for sewer, so 819.
So it's 819, and the 75 cents is opposed against the 819.
Yeah,
in the
819 to
aggregate.
894
Okay.
is where it would go.
So here's what Commissioner Griffey and I talked about, regardless of what we come out with when we had our separate discussions leading up to the budget. Messaging is everything, and highly complex numerics don't get it, and I'd be very much against that. You're still shooting, to Commissioner Griffey's question, we have to pay bills, we have to stay solvent, and we have to stay ahead of the curve, some of the curves we know about. And I don't think we need to get terribly creative about that. I think the numbers actually in market present our own defense. And where I was going with that is at 819 with 75% buffer, you're under 10%. Everybody's seen greater at 8.9 all year long in all operating costs. So it's consistent with market trends, completely consistent. And it's absolutely not an outlier at all. It would actually be an outlier if we were not going into a correction to deal with that. I would not, I know what he's talking about, just basically eliminating the base where you basically absorb it in 1,000 gallons and let people try to get there. That's, to me, in our particular system, I think that's foolhardy. You got to capture at base the principal action and operation of the construct, especially paying back a $20 billion bond and the rest.
Agree, when we started looking at the numbers
Right, and you got, and you have transient.
and doing that,
You have
it's crazy.
transient, rental systems here where people are going too long. I mean, then there's zero, right, on that secondary model, and that doesn't work. We have to sustain the infrastructure. Anyway, where I'm going with this is I can appreciate there's always a million options, but the KISS method is always best with a group like this. And again, I'd be one that would promote option one just on the base that I think it comes closest to a KISS method of explanation.
And communication.
and
Agree, which is
communication.
why that's the
Right.
option I used in the budget.
You know, statistics and studies say that people can only absorb 5 to 7 bullet points. You know, you can have many more, but they really will only absorb 5 to 7. So
Right.
not only do I agree with our chairman, but I just want to reinforce, I don't know what we're going to do, and it's not up to me, but whatever it is that we communicate, I like KISS. Keep it simple, stupid, 5 to 7 bullet points that we plaster everywhere. I mean, Facebook, social media, Twitter, I don't know what all. And you guys have people that know that, but I don't.
Right.
But it says, hey, yeah, you saw it raise in first inflation or whatever, you know, by priority. Because reasonable people of reasonable intelligence, I think, can track with that.
And both measured moves, which are principal, the base and the per 1,000 gallons, fall into that same realm the way they're presented. So they're completely, not only defensible, they're the right thing to do, but they're completely defensible and expressible and explainable to anyone. Anyone's bill goes up that is likened to complain about a bill going up is going to complain about a bill going up, and I get it. But that's just
It's reality.
the cost of doing business.
Which was my
Exactly.
point earlier, the district can't continue to absorb all of the costs that we're incurring and not passing that.
It cannot. but this is the other
Come on.
point I wanted to make on the commentary. That is precisely what gets every known problem district in the state of Mississippi and every other state in trouble. Is it's politically, and politics should never invade operations, but it's politically uncomfortable. This is not a tax, it's a recovery of operating costs. So this is not a tax consequence, this is a recovery of operating costs. And so in that particular regard, when it tries to move into politics, it seems to be a tax. It's not a tax, it's a recovery of operating costs. And so my point being, again, that value range is 8 to 9%. That is the cost of doing business in today's market in every possible sector. The fact of the matter is higher. The cost changes are higher than that. But at that rate, we can explain it away. Are we getting rich? We're not supposed to get rich, right? And that's the whole idea of this. But the other part I just want to applaud, the comment I want to make is the other part, that is the whip. And I would just offer this, I don't know how long we'll all be together on this commission, but I want to record it right now. When a commissioner set comes up here, they inherit the past commissioner set's actions, right? Because we're a policy organization, and if you're going to get a whip, it's going to come in things like I'm going to talk about very quickly. Where you mentioned from the comptroller's desk, and I'm sure it was aided and abetted by the operating components of the district, to actually do the initial set-aside beginning now with a new water tank. Other districts, many, I can't say all of them, many don't do that. And guess what comes up in year 10? A $250,000 bill.
Sure.
Right?
Great.
And there's nothing there but vapor to pay for it with. I can't over-applaud you for literally, so the term O&M and R&R just somehow don't mean what they're supposed to these districts, even though every one of them is supposed to actually represent that value to gain attention to the grants or loans that they get, right? You do it, right? Beg your pardon?
Fleet maintenance is the same thing.
Exactly. So, recognizing that, here's the other point to that. We are, if we were to go with option 1, we are collectively coming right in at the mark to Commissioner Griffey's point again. We are healthy, but not really moving ahead. When you mentioned something like a $5,000 residual against this budget, that I had to actually hear it again to say that. But anyway, when you come into that, and you can actually accomplish that with also advancing the pre-set-asides for the water tank in 10 years, that means you're actually not going for an 8 or 9% budget. It's probably dropping to 6 and 7 when you take that collectively across the board. So that's flippin' remarkable, is my point. And we just, when we leave here, when we respectively leave our jobs, we leave it to the next group, and I hope we leave them a great blueprint.
I agree.
To do that.
I agree, Chairman.
So, otherwise they get that surprise factor that comes up, and they don't know what to deal with. So, I, like Commissioner Griffey, just appreciate the manner in which you present the variant background that's necessary to, without burying us, to be able to take this home.
Try not to.
And I, for one, am good. I can tell you in advance, I'm good with option 1, because I can sell option 1. I cannot sell a make and sell spreadsheet to the guy across the street. I cannot do it.
Right.
It can't do it. It's just not doable. And there's going to be those people that are going to have to be sold. Well, yes and no. I mean, we're gonna weather a storm. We're gonna weather a storm because the dollars are going to change. You know, the reality of it is, though, Tony, yesterday, the price per gallon at the Shell station moved enough that a gas tank of gas costs more than the entirety of the change of the bill. It's one bill for every household, and for that household, and to fill up that tank. One digit move on the gas pump. So.
Chairman, I agree. Not only is option 1 very defensible, but you know, tongue-in-cheek sorta, you could easily point to those that are gonna be very upset for the $3 or whatever it is, but you could just point to them, well, what did eggs cost 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and what do they cost now? I mean, everything's going up. Food's going up, gas is going up, everything in our lives is going up, cost of materials. I remember talking to David about brass and getting brass and how brass was restricted. It was a fascinating conversation, by the way. Most people wouldn't think so, but I did. I mean, our costs are going up. We're not trying to get rich. We're not trying to raid the public. Option one's very defensible.
Well, I give you an example to your comment, is one of the biggest cost line items we have is lab supplies, chlorine. In 2021, we were paying $99 for a 150-pound cylinder, now $232. So it's a 134% increase in less than 2 years.
In fact, the increase is so great that the Kenmore's plant has shut down half of their operation and moved it to another location. Because of the
Missouri.
chlorine.
To Missouri, I think.
Due to
Not
the
not only did
chlorine.
you mention that before, but I went and did minimal research, Google-type research. Let's not call it real research. And you're right, they did do that. And I would say again, I know we had this conversation, there's not much opportunity, but if there's anything we're using that we cannot use in the future, let's fill out that paperwork, and let's do that. I mean, I know
Chlorine-
there's not many options.
Chlorine's not only a necessity,
Oh,
it's
the
a
chlorine, yeah,
requirement
yeah.
from the state law. So
Yeah. Federal
we
law too, I
have
think.
to use it as a minimum.
But this is gonna advance a point, and I'm just gonna leave you with this while you leave us with our homework, Tony. We will have to get that communication out, and I'll be a big player in that. So, those that, and I'm sure you have many more, I'm gonna need some bullet points to illustrate the movement of major commodities, in these last years, and the cost rising where it's not optional to use chlorine and other things.
The
And
meters.
this is the reality.
The meters in every part we use.
This is the reality of the operations environment.
And obviously not just us, even in our outside services, we've seen a vast array of increases across the board because they're feeling it, they're increasing it, so their costs are increasing, their services to us go up, and
How'd everybody's home insurance renewal go this year?
Come on, man. $345.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jeez, Luigi.
Yeah.
I do have one question.
Mhm.
It's just amazing. What is the percentage of residential, what percentage of the customer base is residential versus commercial? I know I should know that. but
we
I
have
don't.
about 4,700 total customers, thereabouts, give or take, and then about 220 maybe commercial. 200 to 220 commercial, out of the 4,700.
About 220.
Yeah.
So 95% residential.
Wow,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
there's I think it was 84% of our customers are those main users, between 4,000 and 6,000.
So it's interesting, as I was also doing the math, as you basically rattled off the major median block. Our average true full-time customer is about 6,000 gallons, right?
Mm-hmm.
The
4 to 6,000.
the measure used in just doing this for putting in the wastewater, the drinking water system in market is 180 gallons a day. That's 166 gallons a day at 6,000 gallons. So we're right in that sweet spot for using that estimate, for the vast majority of the accounts. And that's, again, in that range. It's just reality. It's just like any
Mhm.
subscription service, that has to be, that's the middle class. To use
That's
that,
right.
that metaphor.
That's right.
That's the middle class that has to carry. Yeah.
Hmm.
Thank you, Tony. I don't
Thank
have
you.
any more.
Good
Commissioner
job.
Patel?
Thank
Oh, I'm
you.
done, I'm sorry.
Commissioner Taylor? Good.
I don't have anything.
Thank you.
Good discussion.
Yeah, I
Wake
thought it was
back
I
up.
thought it was a great discussion.
Wake up. Come on.
One thing's for sure, when you get a Tony discussion, you get just the facts, man. Ask me anything else, which I certainly appreciate. All right, so that takes us to, with no further questions or comments, that takes us to old business tonight, which there's none. New business, we have one item. 9.1, motion to approve resolution authorizing applications for the ARPA
Chairman,
Rural Water Association Infrastructure Grants Program, designating General Manager Dave Carden as the authorized representative in execution of the required documents, application documents. Can I get a motion to
So
approve?
moved.
Commissioner Griffey motions to approve. Can I get a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Ertel.
We have a 9.2 amendment, Chairman.
I'm sorry? I'm sorry,
Is this-
yes, we do have a 9.2. Thank you. The, we have to finish this one, however. All in favor of approval of this action signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries unanimously. Amendment to the agenda includes motion, agenda item 9.2, seeking a motion to approve the emergency sewer lateral improvements at 7518 Augusta Way, performed by DNA Underground in the amount of $8,029 in accordance with the State of Mississippi Purchase Law, 3171F, page 1516, section J. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Commissioner Ertel motions to approve. Can I get a second?
Second.
Commissioner Bisecker seconds. All in favor of approval of this action signify by saying aye.
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 Motion carries unanimously. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So
And
moved.
Before I request it, let me, for the record, seek a motion to hold the next meeting, to adjourn and hold the next meeting of the Board of Commissioners on August the 24th, 2023 at 4 p.m. at the Diamond Head City Hall Council Chambers, 5000 Diamond Head Circle, Diamond Head, Mississippi. Motion to adjourn. Motion was made by Commissioner Griffey.